नमो ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्मविद्यासम्प्रदायकर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषिभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः। शङ्करम् शङ्कराचार्यम् केशवम् बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मीति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. So, we have been going through the various mantras of Kathopanishad, which is in the form of a story between Nachiketas and Lord Yama for the spiritual enlightenment of an apt student who can have no parallel in our knowledge, who was so adamant in getting that knowledge from the master who is established in the truth, Yamaha himself. In spite of getting tempted by various offering by tempted Yama to see how steadfast the student is, Nachiketa has successfully qualified for it. And in the last 3 classes, we have seen the various stages of spiritual unfoldment that was being given to Nachiketas, through Nachiketas to all of us. So the beneficiaries are those who are listening to it. And in the last class, where we stopped was were the example of the chariot as the body of the human being as a chariot, the Jivatma as the rider, the intellect is the charioteer, mind is the reins, and the horses are the indriyas, sense organs, and the path is riddled with temptations, and the one who is able to control the horses, which has been trained well, means how to control your senses. If you have a person has learned it, then he is definitely, the whole unit is reaching that Vishnu Paramam Padam, that ultimate place of Vishnu, which itself is Vivutvad Vishnu or Vyapagattvad Vishnu. So the last mantra was Vijnana Saritir Yastu Manapragavan Naraha So Advana Paramapnodi Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam is where we stopped. So with that, with the most apt usage of a discriminative intellect and using the mind to restrict the overindulgence or the waylaid approach toward the sense organs, momentary temptations, etc. If the journey of our life is continued with the same goal in my mind, the ultimate, that moksha or the merging of the Jivatma Paramatma is the truth. For that, if anybody is undertaking that journey, he definitely reaches Paramapnodi Tad Vishnu Paramam Padam. Is the guarantee given by none other than the Lord of Death, Yamaha himself. In the next 2 shlokas, which we are starting this class, has got 2 shlokas together as stage by stage how the control of one over the other is established. It is also a shloka, a mantra, a couplet of mantras which is used very heavily in the Nididhyasana or the meditation process, where you are withdrawing yourself into your own, or that the way in which one has to look inward is being given in these shlokas. So first I'll read both the shlokas, mantras together, then I'll explain one by one. Indriyebhya param hyarta, artebhya cha param manaha, manasascha para buddhir, buddhiratma mahan paraha. Mahata param avyaktam, avyaktat purusha paraha, purushanna param kinjit, sa kashta sa paragati. So these are the 2 mantras. So if we look it into the individual meaning of this, what are the words indicating in this mantras are Indriyebhya Parahyartha. Now, here Artha Parahi Indriya is the way in which we have to read it. Objects are superior to senses. This may feel to be slightly out of place. We are always thinking that our sense organs are in control or is in superior to the objects outside. But the mantra says the objects have superiority over the senses. The reason being that is, who is in control of what? That is why we should understand that when the mantra says that Artaha Parahi Indriyebhya Parahi Artha. So, compared to the sense organs, the objects are superior in the sense that the object has a higher control over the sense organs to distract or to get engaged and reveling in that. From that point, the power is more vested in the objects outside than the mind. But buddhittu paramanasa. When it comes to intellect, no, in between manasa paramartecha. So the mind is superior to the senses. Before the buddhi, the mind comes. The senses are subordinate or at the mercy of the objects. The sense organ, they do not have independent, faculty to withdraw from that. If an object is coming in front of it, the light from the object will definitely fall on the eye, and eye has no right but to refuse, no right to refuse the visual image of the object. That is why the object is superior to the sense organ. But when it comes to manaha param artebhya, that object is inferior to the mind. Even though the sense organ is inferior to the object, the mind has superiority over the object. So the lowest in the ring is the sense organs, then comes the objects, and above the object is the mind. Why it is so is that if the mind wants, even the object is there, it can prohibit or prevent the sense organ from engaging itself. The object will attract the sense organ, but if the mind wants, it can allow the sense organ to engage or not to engage. Thereby, the mind is superior to the object. Even the object can attract. If the mind is coming in between, the sense organs cannot go. Therefore, the objects become less powerful to attract the sense organs. But when it comes to the intellect, buddhittu para manasa, the logic or the intellect which is there, mind even sometimes can get wavered by the beauty of the object or the temptation of the object, and it may forget itself in indulging itself. But an intellect which has got firm conviction and knowledge about what is to be done, what is not to be done, it can control the mind. So, buddhistu para manasa. Mahan Atma Buddhe Paraha. Now here is Mahan Atma Buddhe Paraha. Here we have transcending from the physical level. That Atma which is in me, within residing in me, and the Atma which is spread everywhere as Mahat. So Mahan Atma, when it is said, it is the totality, the cosmic intellect. The cosmic intellect is represented by the word Mahanatma. It is not the Jivatma over here what talking, because Jivatma is only a Sakshi. It neither controls the intellect, nor gets attached with the intellect, nor it has got anything to do with the intellect. It is just a Sakshi. But That Mahanatma, which is the word used here, is not the Atma per se. Here the Atma word stands for the intellect. And the word, so the adjective Mahan, when it becomes the cosmic intellect. The cosmic intellect is superior to the individual intellect. So here is the micro intellect and the macro intellect, which is being brought in by the mantra to control, saying that there is a superior power to the individuals which can decide what to happen and what not to happen, or how to control things, which is where we say that, it is the will of God and etc. What we put it as. Actually speaking, the Mahat Atma here standing for is for the Avyaktam or the Virat or Hiranyagarbha mind, the Creator's mind. So the Creator's mind is represented in one of the Upanishads, in the Chandogya, in the Braharani Upanishads, as the campfire, and the individual intellects are compared to the spark which is coming out of that campfire, where it has all the qualities of the fire as an amber, which comes out of the from the fire, the great bigger fire. Even though in all qualities it has that fire potential in it, if it is falling on an object which has that right situation to catch fire, that spark can create another fire. But if it is falling on something which is not incombustible, it can be put off. Even though the spark is the same, the quantity and the power of the big flame is not there in the spark. Same is the case with Mahan Atma and Buddhi. The difference between these two, we should understand that way. The cosmic intellect is omniscient, omnipotent. It has the knowledge of everything. It has the control of everything. It is present everywhere. It is not localized to the body which we are residing in it. But when it comes to a cosmic intellect, there is something superior to that. It is called Avyakta Mahata Param. In the next sloka, in the mantra, it said is Avyaktam. Avyaktam is the unmanifest. The unmanifest form from where the manifestations take place, that time it becomes Virat or Hiranyagarbha or the creator, or in the mythological thing we can say Brahma, the creator of the world. That Avyaktam, from which is unmanifest form, is superior to the Mahatatma. See, these are all esoterical in the sense that we have to understand it in the meditative way. We are talking about the mind of the Virat, is Mahanatma. The mind of the Mahanatma is a created form, Bhuta Vastu. It has been already taken shape as a cosmic creator. But before the creation takes place, the same thing is in the form of Avyaktam. Now, Avyaktam is that state where the desire to become many, soa kamayada bahusyam prajayeti, in the Upanishads, when it says that will, let me become many, that will which takes place in the Avyakta, when the will starts functioning, it becomes the Virat or Hiranyagarbha, into which makes the creation for the created. Ajayamano bahuda vichayade. That is the other aspect of it. It comes from that as many, appears to become many. So in the mantra what, in the second mantra what is there? Avyaktam Mahata Param. So this unmanifest form with the will to create many is superior to the intellect of the cosmic intellect. because the cosmic intellect has already got the Trigunatmika, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Whereas in the Avyakta Mahata state, when the cosmic state, it is pure Sat. There is only Sattva Guna. Whereas the moment it comes into the creation, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, Prakriti Bhava comes, this is the Sankhya philosophy, which brings in that. So both Avyaktam, when in the pure Sattvic state, it is called Avyaktam. When the Sattva, Rajas, Tama Guna case, it is called Prakriti or Hiranyagarbha in the form of which the one creates. Avyaktat Purusha Paraha. Here the Purusha, which is called in the Vedanta as Advaita as Brahma, Brahman, the supreme or the Satchidanandam Brahma, Satchitananda or Satyajnanam Anandam Brahma, that indicated by those words, that is superior than the Avyakta, the unmanifest form. At least in the unmanifest form, there is Sattva Guna. Whereas in the Satyajnanam Anandam Brahma, it is Gunatita, Kalatita, Trigunatita, all beyond that. So that is superior than the will to create. Purushat na param kinchit. There is nothing beyond or superior than the Purusha. So therefore, Purushat na param kinchit itself is a definition for the Purusha. Yasya param nasti sa Purusha. So na Purusha, therefore no Purushat na param kinchit. Therefore nothing is beyond, superior to the Purusha. And sa kashta sa paragati. That is the ultimate, and that indeed is the supreme goal. Paragati. Gati means goal. Paragati means that itself is a paragati. That is the ultimate destination for the Jivatma, using the method of controlling the senses, mind, intellect, merging with that cosmic intellect, and from the cosmic intellect before the desire to become many. Now this is a meditative process which is being explained in the Upanishad. We can also look at from our own personal experience. When we were in our deep sleep, there was no will to see the world, no will to be the individual, nothing was there. And then a desire comes before waking up to wake up. That time also we are not aware of the wake up. That is a pure will to wake up. The moment the will to wake up, the first thing comes is unadulterated I, which doesn't even identify with the body. But the moment that comes, the subordinate starts waking up, like the intellect and the mind and the sense organs, and then the whole world is seen. So you can see the creation happening in us in every day when we wake up from the deep sleep. The same is the creation which is happening in the cosmos also. The Purusha, the moment Avyaktam comes, the will to become many, so kameta bahusyam prajayeti. Then Atmana Akasha Sambhudaha. From that Atma, Akashad Vayo Ragni Agnirapaha, Adya Prithivir Aushadayaha, Aushadebhyo Annam, Annat Purusha. So the step by step how the creation takes place is explained in the Sukta and the mantra. Same is happening individually to all of us also when we wake up from the deep sleep to the waking world. So when you are doing a meditation on this aspect, that the body is a chariot, we have the intellect, which is the controller of the mind is the reins, and the horses are the sense organs, and the objects in the world are the one which is attracting the world, is the temptation for the senses. But the journey is complete and successful only if we have all of them under control. Then only Sat Vishnu Paramampadim. Or here when what they says is Sa Kashta Sa Paragati. So there are two places, Tat Vishnu Paramampadam, here Sa Kashta Sa Paragati. Both are the same. As an individual, what we achieve and as what happens in the cosmic also is the same. It is merging with the Purusha And that Purusha is represented by Vishnu's Paramam Padam in the previous mantra. Now, having explained this, there are three subtle things which the mantra wants to explain to you. Yesha sarveshu bhuteshu gudatma na prakashate. Drishyate tu agriya buddhya sushmaya sushmadarshibhi. Now, how is this possible when we ask it? The mantra, the Upanishad mantra says that Gudaha sarva bhuteshu esha atma na prakashate. Hidden, Gudaha means hidden. This Purusha, which is in the cosmic, which we cannot see, but that Purusha, it is for the, from Buddhe Parammanaha, Buddhe to Mahanatma. That aspect of that where this is residing cannot be known. Even though it is Sarveshu Bhuteshu, it is there hidden in every atom of creation. Yesha Atma na prakashate. That self doesn't divulge itself. Here is something which we have to understand, that the Atma, when the word is used, we always have a tendency to look as something great and magnificent outside, external to the person who is thinking about it. But when the mantra says that Tad Tvamasi, that the what the Upanishads always is talking about, your own true nature. We are identifying ourselves with the limitation of the body, mind and intellect, and then we think we are a human being and limited to the body. But Upanishad step by step has taken us many a times in different examples and different things that we are the Sakshi. We are aware. Whatever object is perceivable has to be different from us. And then the one which is perceiving is the Atma. So when it is says that Sarveshu Bhuteshu Esha Atma Gudaha Tad na prakashate. That doesn't shine in anything and outside, because just as you cannot see yourself, and when you are present in everything, how can you see yourself in that thing outside also? For that, drishyate tu sushmadarshibihi agriya sushma buddhya. But it can be only seen with a very subtle intellect. Sushmadarshibihi drishyate. What one can see it if he wants to see it. It is just like a star which is very small in the sky. However much effort we put it, unless we decided to concentrate in that location, that tiny little star will not be seen by us. It is as far as the vision is concerned. Now imagine that concentration which we need within our intellect to understand what the mantra says, that it is hidden in every iota or every atom of the world, which we see as object outside. You are there, very much there in every one of them, but hidden for you because it cannot be seen by the sense organs. But only Sushmadarshibihi, only with a very subtle manner you can see it. Why? Sushmaya Sushma Buddhi, Agriya Sushma Buddhya. It cannot be seen by the sense organs. You have to infer it. You are to use your intellect to identify yourself present in every atom, because you are just as you cannot see yourself within this body itself. We can only see the mind, intellect and the physical sense organs, the body and the world outside. but we cannot see ourselves. Just as it is happening in this body, the same entity is available in every atom of the world also. And it cannot be seen by the physical eyes and sense organs. So it has to be sensed with the sharp intellect. That is why the mantra says that's it. Na drishyate tu, na drishyate, na prakashate. It doesn't divulge itself. Prakashate means divulge itself. It cannot divulge itself because the seer and the seen are one in that situation. So it has to be only felt by the seer. The seen as the seen and the seer are, there is no difference. This is how the Upanishad is bringing the subtleness to our, method of inquiry. The next sloka is slightly more intense in the sense, Yat chet vang manasi, pratnya tat chet jnanam atmani, jnanam atmani mahati, nishchaye tad ichchanda atmani. Now, yat chet vang, pratnya yat chet, the discrete mind, the pratnya here is the faculty of the mind, discriminative mind or discriminative intellect. Yat chet vang manasi, it should resolve the words into the mind. Why do you say the world into the mind? When we say words into the mind should know that what is expressed as sound by name and form of manasi. Here vang is indicative for all the sense organs. So all sense organs, what is showing as an object, that should be resolved into the mind as they are awareness or consciousness itself. And what I am sensing as 5 sense organs or 5 sensory inputs are nothing but awareness, and that has to be resolved into the mind. Tat chet jnanam atmani, and that knowledge which is resolving in the mind, which is shining in the mind. Now the object is no more outside. It is in the mind. That not as an object outside, but as awareness or an experience or bodha, swarupa. That is shining in the mind. That jnanam, that chet, jnanam atmani. That should be resolved in the atmani, in the atman. Atmani mahata. So here the atman is being indicative of the higher intellect, of the within the individual, not the jivatma paramatma. Atmani mahati. That should be seen that if it is happening within me, it is not localized, individualized experience for me alone. It is the experience of everything in the world is experiencing something else. So it has to be common for the Mahat, that cosmic mind or cosmic intellect also. So this way you have to resolve from the individual intellect to that it is the same experience. What I see as light, sound and heat is the same light and sound everybody is expressing. And it is light and sound is always light and sound for anything, whether it's a tree or a rock. It also has the light and sound as light and sound only. It cannot have a different experience, but whether they have the sense organs or not is a different issue. But when it is resolved one by one into the fine, yache tat sande atmani, in that when it is resolved into the tranquil mind, when the mind is, or here atmani is the second atmani is not the intellect, it is in the peaceful entity, individuality, or the atmani here is not the functional mind, but it is the status of the mind when the mind becomes no mind. When that is resolved into that state of no mind, then the Atma is is expressing itself. That is the time when you know that. So that is exactly the term what they say, drishyate to agriya buddhya. That is the time when we are experiencing that oneness within the individuality and the oneness in the world outside. So when the Krishna said, Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvancha mayi pashyati, or yatrana anyap pashyati anyat shrunodi anyat vijanati, in the Upanishad what it says, or sarvam khaluidam brahma, ayamatma brahma, or aham brahmasmi. Everything is dissolving into this one knowledge of, I know that experience of mind which is there as Atma is the same thing, Ghuda, in every object or iota there. But it is myself which is there. I cannot see myself in me as well as in after outside. This can be resolved only by stage doing contemplation or meditation. And for such a person, Sushma tu agriya buddhya prakashate. It drishyate to agriya buddhya. Such a concentrated mind, he will experience it. This is the guarantee given by the Kathopanishad, that Yama to Nachiketa. And then to shake up Nachiketa, who is already into a contemplative mood, the famous mantra is uttered by Yama. Uttishtada jagrada prapyavaran nibodata. Shurasyadara nishita durattiya durgam patastak katavayo vatanti. Uttishtada, shake up and get up. Jagrada, with all the attention which you can enmass or, gather together. Prapya varan nibodata. Varan prapya. After having approached a varan means here it is that the supreme person who knows that truth. In the introductory mantras, we have seen that where Nachiketa says that you definitely know that truth. So where can I get a master who indirectly says he knows the truth? And here I am coming to you and I want the truth from you only. I don't want anything else. Such is the state what this Varan is indicative of, that the one who is superior, in the sense here the superiority is not by the knowledge of the one who is established in this Sushma Drishti, who has that, such a person prapya, after having approached him, nibodata, you should tell him, niboda, or request him for passing on that methodology or how to do it. He will tell you. Then he is also telling that this method, Shurasyadara nishita durattiya, durgam patastak kavayo vadanti. Such kavis, the Varan itself is a kavi, or the one who has knowledge, that they talk about it, vadanti, talk about it, patas. This method or this track or this way is durgam, dushtena gandham shakya. It is very difficult to travel that method. It is like Shurasya Dara, how the sharpness of a sharp blade can never be seen by the eye. And you can imagine if somebody is being asked to walk through that, what is the concentration or the attention he wants without cutting his leg, how such a person can walk. It is an extraordinary simile, but even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Mama Maya Duratya. The word Duratya comes there also. It is extremely difficult to cross over that path, but it is not unattainable. If it is unattainable, this would not have been passed on from generations to generation. It's not a wild goose chase. It is possible, The word, because it is pathaya, kavayo vadanti, means those who have traveled that path, they say that it is very difficult, durgam, drishtena gandhum, and nishida duratteya is very difficult to cross over because it is as sharp as a razor's edge. Then comes to the next mantra, is indicative about that state in which when you travel, tat Vishnu param sa kashta sa paragati, how does that appear to be, or how it is can be, what will be like it like, is an indicative way in which the Upanishad says that. Ashabdam asparsham arupam avyayam tatarasam nitya agandavachaya. Anadi anandam mahataparam dhruvam nijayatam mrityu mukhat pramuchyate. There are no words to explain this. Ashabdam, asparsham, arupam, avyayam, tatarasam, nityam, aganda. So here, all the sensory object and their related tanmatras are being related because Shabda Sparsha Rupa Rasa Gandha. This is the way in which 5 sense organs are experiencing the whole world. So the moment it is say asparjam means that which the ears cannot grasp it or the ears are incapable of knowing it. Asparsham, it is not possible to touch, sense or feel, or that it is not an object for the, even for sense of touch. Arupam, for the eyes, it can never visualize, imagine or even give a form to it, to even the wildest of the wildest imagination. Arasam, it doesn't have a taste. Agandam, it doesn't have a smell. It is avyayam tada nityam. It is without any what you call decay. Avyayam, vyayam means to decay. It doesn't diminish. That experience, once it is experienced, sushma drishtya, drishyate tvagriya buddhya, then it is avyayam. And it is not only it is decayless, it is nityam. That is going to remain with you permanent. The nature of itself is permanent. That is your very own nature of it, your own self. And then says anadi, anantam. It has no beginning, and in anandam, it is infinite. There are 2 things here is, one is on talking about the kala, anadi. So it is beyond the time, the space, the time concept. It's all. Anadi means no beginning, means neither the beginning nor now nor future. It is not with any of these things. Anandam is talking about the space. It is not limited to, it is infinite inside. Param mahataha. And even beyond the creator who have created the Prakriti, who has created the entire world. It is beyond that. Jab mahata param. Dhruvam, it is changeless. It is that as an entity, it is changeless. And that is the paramam padam which we will attain by the process of following the method the Upanishad has told it. Nijayatim, by knowing that very clearly, mrityu mukhat pramuchyate, you will never have the fear of death again. Because mrityu mukhat, from the jaws of death, pramuchyate means you are freed for all, once and for all. Because it is nityam. It is avyayam, decayless. It is anadi, anantam. So we should remember that earlier mantra which was told, najayate mriyate va. So it is neither born nor it is death. It is again reaffirmed here in this shloka that tam nichayatam mrityu mukhat pramuchyate. So the one who attempts to get that, he gets freed. This is what is called mukti or moksha, as knowledge. Jnana tevatu kaivalyam. The knowledge is the one which frees you from that bondage or the misconception that you are the limited body. But you are not the limited body. You are the limitless self within, which is the spark which is in you, is the same spark of the big fire from which we are all appearing to have taken up a small, effective feeling of localization. That is itself is an art of ignorance. The one who sees through these process, he identifies himself Mahataparam. He goes beyond the creation itself, and Sakashta Saparagati. He achieves the ultimate state. Now the last two mantras are concluding mantras from the Nachiketa Upakhyanam. The dialogue between the Yama and Nachiketa comes to end with this sloka and this mantra and the next mantra, which will be the final two mantras of Kathopanishad, first chapter. Nachiketa Mupakhyanam Mrityu-proktam Sanatanam Uktva Shrutva Cha Medavi Brahmalokve Mahiyate. Nachiketa Mupakhyanam. This story of Nachiketa, which has been conveyed, because this is told by the Rishi Katha Muni, who have been telling about the Kathopanishad. Sanatanam Shrutva Uktva. By Shravana and Manana, Medhavi, one who has the Medha or the right intellect, because we know Drishyate tu Agriya Buddhya. So to reaffirm that, the mantra says, such a Medhavi, Mrityu-proktam Sanatanam Vachanam Upakhyanam, Nachiketa Upakhyanam Namna Atha. This mantras, which is called the Nachiketa Upakhyanam, Shrutva Bhuktva, having heard and again telling that, repeating that, Medhavi Brahmaloke Mahiyate. He Brahma eva loka, Brahmaloka. He is abiding in the Brahmaloka. He is ever once and for all. He is free from the clutches of death. Ya imam paramam guhyam Shravayen Brahma samsiti Prayadat Shraddhakaleva Tadanantyaya Kalpate Tadanantyaya Kalpata iti. So when the Upanishad concludes a subject, normally the last sentences are repeated twice. Here is it Tadanantyaya Kalpate Tadanantyaya Kalpata iti. So what it means is that if a person repeats with purity, Imam Guhyam Brahma Samsadi, this mantras which have been told to Nachiketa by Yama, if a person imbibes it, hears it, and again talks about it, Uktva Shrutva, and talks it by that way becomes his conviction, Brahma Samsiti, in the assembly of Brahmans, Brahmavadinaha, who are all interested in attaining Brahmahood, that Brahma Loke Mahiyate, that Brahma Loka. Cha Shraddha Kale, that is for those who are in the devotional part. For them it is say that when they are talking about the Pitru Karma, or that when they are doing this karma for their departed one, it is a sort of a concession to people who cannot have the sharp intellect. The Upanishad itself gives a concession saying that people who are doing the Shraddha for the Pitru, even when that time also, if they do these mantras and talk Nachiketa mantra, so Nachiketa Agni Upasana, that even then, it conduces the result which is supposed to be the result of the Medhavi, the one who with intellect also will get the same, which the one who are doing with the devotion in the Shraddha Kale, they also will get this thing. It is a concession to the people who are in the devotional path also, saying that they also will achieve. But the main theme of the Upanishad said, Drishyate tu agriya buddhya sa medhavi brahmaloke mahiyate. Only with that sharp intellect and the subtle intellect, one who one who processes the experiences from the artha, the object of sense organs, to the mind, to the intellect, to the cosmic intellect, and settling in that peaceful Purusha, such a person knows that this Purusha, which is in me, is there in Etsham Sarveshu Bhuteshu Goda. Every atom or a creation also is having me as a presence in that, but nadrishyate. But it cannot be seen by me because I can't see myself within me. So how do I see myself in others, other things? I can only infer that because everything comes in the consciousness. The awareness is unbroken. I cannot demarcate, limit with time, space, and etc. Anadi Anandam. The consciousness and the awareness is one through. A person who settles his intellect and the mind in that cosmic intellect, Sa Brahmaloke Mahyate, Sa Kashta Sa Paragati, Tat Vishnu Paramam Padam, all are the same. He attains his goal and Brahma Mrityuloka Pramuchyate. He is free from birth and death again. He knows the truth and he has no more birth and death again. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. That's it.